Hello, my beautiful friends. This is Laurel Bleadon-Maffei with Illuminating Souls, welcoming you to this episode of Sleepy Bedtime Blessings, a podcast designed to help you rest, relax, and fall asleep, and also designed to help you deepen in your connection with your angels and awaken to your divine gifts and abilities. If we're meeting for the first time, I am an angelic practitioner, a spiritual teacher, and an encourager of souls. And it is my deepest joy to bring forward divine love for you. You can learn more about my services and my classes over at illuminatingsouls.com. And I also email out a daily inspiration email blast, which is available to you. And I, like you, am a divine being having a human experience. And part of my self-care, especially when I am in my Earth Girl mode, is that I listen to sleep podcasts. Every night when I go to bed, I put in my earbuds and choose an episode to listen to. And I find that sleep podcasts help me release my consciousness from the busyness and the thought forms of the day, so that it's easier for me to drift off into the beautiful, mysterious world of sleep, which is why I have been guided to create this podcast for you. So we're going to spend some time with the angels, and then I'm going to read to you a bedtime story. Now, this is a special episode, and I'm laughing to myself because I'm of the generation who remembers the television promos that would say things like, on this special episode of Blossom. It's not going to be that special, but what is special about it is this is the episode that I am bringing forth to help build a bridge from the completion energies of 2021 and to make space for us to come into the next year. So take a deep breath in with me. Did you hear my breath? I almost had to breathe into that one, right? Deep breath in and out. You know, we are not living in easy breezy times. And almost everyone I know has had to do a lot of heavy lifting in life and in consciousness this year. And whatever your experiences have been, they are holy and sacred because they are a part of your life's journey. And so tonight, the angels and I are going to lead you through a process to help you complete and heal and release and love and hopefully even celebrate your experiences of this year. You don't have to be awake to do this. we are working in an energetic field. So it's up to you if you want to listen to this during the daytime when you can be more aware, or if you just want to leave the heavy lifting to the angels and drift off to sleep, that's okay too. But to get started, I'm going to invite you to get comfortable in your body. Pick a place where you can relax, whether you're cozied into bed, maybe sitting in your favorite chair, maybe pulling a blanket up just so. Whatever you can do to help cultivate a sense of sanctuary for your body and your spirit. And take another nice deep breath in as we call ourselves forward into the heart of God. And beautiful angels on high, I ask that you join us here. I ask that you infuse this broadcast with the highest dimensions of love, light, compassion, and understanding. That you assist each one of us in coming present into the holiness of this moment. That you assist us in coming into sanctuary, where we are held in the preciousness of our being. So just imagine, dear ones, that your angels are with you now. And whether you believe in angels or simply want to contemplate them as fanciful figures in a fairy tale, just imagine that you are being surrounded by beautiful, bright beings of light who embody love for you. And this love comes with no strings attached and no expectations. Just like the sun provides you warmth and light, so do the angels love you. And the angels are aware of everything that has been transpiring for you. They know the truth of your heart. They know the moments worthy of celebration. And they also know your sorrows, and all that you are is welcome here now. We acknowledge you for all you have been through and all you are going through now. And we send prayers of love and gratitude and healing across the timeline of your life, especially focusing upon this past year. You are doing so much better than you know. And the angels are inviting you to release yourself from anything that has been weighing you down, the judgments you are placing upon yourself. The angels ask you to release yourself from the old stories that no longer serve you, and in all likelihood were never your stories to begin with. And the angels invite you to begin crafting a brighter narrative that reveals the truth of who you are. That you, dearest one, are a divine being in human form. And you are one of those big, bright souls who has chosen to incarnate in this time and space to help evolve consciousness. And it's not important that you write a best-selling book or achieve accolades out in the public. You make a difference every single day by the way you hold love in your heart. You are someone who has a generous spirit. And you are someone who holds hope in your heart for brighter tomorrows, even when it does not feel like brighter tomorrows are coming. You are one who places prayers into the universe in hopes things will get better. And we're not sure you know how extraordinary this is. You see, you are one of those who is on a path of awakening to even more of who you are. There is such magic in you. You are a creative spirit, and you see the world differently than most. You carry empathy in your heart, and you might be wondering how we know this about you. And it is because you are here now with us. And if this did not resonate for you, you wouldn't have made it this far. There's an adage that we often use that says, when you hear your truth, you know your truth. And right now, we sense you are hoping we've got it right about you. And we believe we do. So take a breath in, and we welcome you to this moment. You have been through so much this year, and each storm you've walked through, the moments of laughter which we hope you have experienced this year, every tear you've shed, every time you wanted to scream out in your car or in your shower. We want you to know that you have been loved. You did not come here to transcend the human experience. You came here to experience what it is to be awake in your humanness, because It is your humanness that helps to create the seeds of humanity. And there's an evolution that's happening, and you're a part of this. So thank you for the gift of you. And we invite you to take a breath in. And we invite you to call forward the beauty of your spirit and ask and allow the angels to help you reunite with the brightness of your soul, activating your gifts and abilities, especially the ones that are ready to come online for you right now in the days and weeks and months to come. You see, this universe has beautiful and bright dreams for you. You are here on purpose. You know, many years ago, I was at Agape Spiritual Center, and Reverend Michael Beckwith was giving his sermon, and he said, "You are not an accident. You are an on purpose from God." And when he said that, I almost couldn't breathe. And then I started to cry because I hadn't realized how much I had identified with my flaws, my shortcomings, and the idea that I could be an on purpose from God opened up my heart in indescribable ways. And so in the holiness of this moment, I pay it forward. And I remind you that you are an on purpose from God too. You are a precious expression of divine light in human form. And this world is richer because you are here. So what do you say that as we come to the space, the portal of releasing this year, that we collectively release all of those unkind voices in our heads? You know the ones. The ones inherited, the ones that do not really help. And we ask the angels right now to collect them all up and gently take them to the light, where they can be transformed in something even better. So that the voices in consciousness now that you will hear will be kind voices, loving voices, the voices that inspire you and cheer you on and help you remember who you are and your place in the world. And with this, you cozy on in, and we say thank you for all the molecules of love you are seeding into the world. May your way be paved with grace. May blessings and miracles find you at every turn. And may sparks of inspiration flow to you, heart and soul. So you have permission to rest now. And we will celebrate the gift of you. And to help you drift off, I'm going to read to you. So tonight I'm going to read something a little different to you. Often I read fiction to you because who doesn't like a good book? But in this episode, I'm going to read to you from a magazine called The Nautilus that was published by Elizabeth Towne and her husband, William Towne. So, would it surprise you to know that the New Age, metaphysical, New Thought wisdom arena was in play in the late 1800s and early 1900s? There were so many wonderful books and magazines published at that time that reflect a lot of the spiritual principles that many of us who might be considered New Age are still learning about. So, The Nautilus was a monthly magazine that you could subscribe to for 50 cents. The issue I'm going to read from is from February 1905. And we're going to start with an article by William Towne called How the New Thought Can Help You. The question is often asked, what is meant by going into the silence? It doubtless means different things to different people. I shall only try to explain what it means to me. In the first place, it means perfect quiet of mind and body, perfect rest and relaxation. In this hurrying, bustling material age, the daily habit of going into the silence and listening to the voice of nature becomes a thing to be welcomed like a fruitful oasis in a great desert. This regular period of quiet becomes a time of recuperation for all the mental and physical powers. It builds up all that has been destroyed in the fierce battle of the material life, and in addition, this time of silence opens up new paths to the attainment of our desires. During this silent time, the mortal mind, the conscious mind, is passive, and the higher faculties become active. The soul takes possession of the body and comes forth into expression as it never can do while the body and mind are engaged in the strenuous efforts of ordinary daily living. The soul is a storehouse of wisdom and power. The way to this storehouse is through the silence, through quietness of body and passiveness of the conscious mind. One of the greatest inventors in the world has brought forth over 2,200 inventions by the method of sitting in the silence for a stated time each day, always at the same hour, for the purpose of gaining new knowledge in the line of inventions. Before going to these sittings, he is careful to draw around him an atmosphere in harmony with the subject upon which he desires new light. This he does by giving the matter earnest thought, reading books which treat along the lines upon which he seeks new light, and in short, gaining whatever information he can that touches upon the subject in any way. This habit of going into the silence daily brings about an atmosphere of peace which makes for the highest development and renews mind and body. Do not, however, cultivate and maintain too great a degree of passivity. Some people are so constituted that they become extremely negative if they do not take care when practicing this daily relaxation. The cultivation of passivity and going into the silence is for the purpose of gaining strength and wisdom. This strength and wisdom must then be put into practical, positive, everyday use on the objective plane, or its possession is of little value. The author of Light on the Path, that classic, tells us to seek the way by retreating within. Seek the way advancing boldly without. The one principle of life manifests as both positive and negative. He who would live in harmony with this principle must seek the poise where positive and negative meet. He should not allow himself to dwell too much in the objective positive life, nor yet wholly in the subjective passive. Let him seek rather to become like a sun, wherein the positive and negative are blended into a harmonious, radiant whole. When you are ready to go into the silence, take a few slow, deep, even breaths and thoroughly relax mind and body. Rest at perfect ease mentally and physically. After you have gained sufficient control of yourself to keep still for half an hour in this manner, and can at will make your mind a blank and let go of all active thoughts, then learn to let the mind rest in a passive way upon the thoughts which best express what you desire to realize. For instance, take the word strength if you desire to be strong, and let the mind rest upon that word. Previous to the sitting, draw about you a suitable atmosphere by reading articles upon the development of strength, or by thinking of yourself as being filled to overflowing with abundant strength. Get enthused with the idea, but do not strain the mind at all to retain these thoughts. You may secure better results in some cases by dismissing all effort to keep any particular word in your mind after you begin the sitting. Now consign the body to care of the soul with the thought that the soul will build strength for you. Then let the mind become wholly passive, or allow the thought to rest upon some particular word or words as described above. Experiment for yourself and you will find what method is best adapted to your individual case. You will find wisdom, power, growth, and above all, peace in the silence. The peace you shall desire is that sacred peace which nothing can disturb, and in which the soul grows as does the holy flower upon the still lagoons. And then we move into Briefs by William E. Tower, which are small snippets. I do not believe it is possible for people to keep well and healthy for a lifetime unless they spend some time in the open air each day. It is contrary to nature to live inside a house 24 hours out of 24. The next snippet, T.J. Shelton has been telling us in Christian how he and Mrs. Shelton entertain themselves evenings. They read fiction mostly and discuss the probable endings of the novels. Mrs. Towne and myself are very much in the business vibrations at present. We get absorbingly interested in considering the relative merits of Shaw Walker and Macy Wernicke vertical files and card systems. We discuss everything in the line of office furniture, the best methods of systematizing our work, etc. We have just subscribed for System, the magazine that tells all about business methods, and this we peruse with the greatest care, including the advertisements, of which we have already answered about a dozen in the single number of the magazine received. We also read fiction to a considerable extent, particularly that published in Harper's Magazine, McClure's, and other standard magazines. Mrs. Towne likes to read books on psychology, like the works of Professor William James, and also books on sociology like Bernard Shaw's Man and Superman. I like some books upon occultism, but of late years I read less upon these subjects and seek more to find the truth of things on my own account. During the 4 years of our married life, we have made exactly one social call within the city limits, aside from occasional calls made upon our relatives. Each evening, we walk from 3 to 6 blocks for the open air and exercise, besides walking a half a mile to the post office once a day. Of course, we sandwich in many short trips out of the city, and in summer we wheel or go trolley riding almost every afternoon. We both believe in and practice physical culture exercises every day of our lives. The next snippet says, the vegetarian says that bananas are only fit to eat when they are fully ripe, when the skin is almost black or heavily spotted with black. The next snippet says, the newspapers report that Her Ladyship Adele Grant, Countess of Essex, a famous London beauty, has been cured of nervousness and regained her beauty through adopting a vegetarian diet and a regular system of physical exercise. The next snippet says, a life that is really worth anything, a life that is filled with joy, with helpfulness and cheer for others, can only be lived by one who holds lightly the sense life and the indulgences of the material world. Those who have been great shining lights of blessing to their fellows had their soul's desires rooted in that which is back of beyond the purely material. The next article we're going to read is Spirit, the Breath of Life by Elizabeth Towne. It starts with a quote. My healer in California teaches that I must depend alone upon spirit, that breathing exercises, food, sunshine, and air must not be made the dependence for health. He says, why, you can't help breathing. And Elizabeth Towne responds, that is Tommy rot. Sunshine and air are spirit. And the plain truth of the matter is, if you don't use them all, your dependence on spirit will avail simply nothing. Try living in a north room with the windows shut and see. You can't help breathing, but your breathing avails nothing unless by it you take in good, fresh, live spirit in the way of pure air and sunshine. If we all lived under the sun and slept under the stars, that healer's advice might be good enough, but we don't. We live in tight, dark rooms whence the spirit of life has fled. We can't help breathing, but what do we breathe? We breathe the air of closed rooms. Spirit is life, and we live by breathing it. Spirit is in fresh air. Fresh air is in spirit. Fresh air and spirit are one. What good will it do you to say you depend upon spirit when you don't, when you shut yourself away from the spirit of life and breath? Pure air and sunshine contain spirit specially prepared for your use. What good will it do for you to pretend that you depend upon spirit when you shut yourself into rooms whence the spirit has flown? If you live in closed rooms, you may affirm your dependence upon spirit until you are blue in the face, and you may be treated every hour of the day by this California healer and 10,000 more like him, and the result will be only sickness. I know in my heart and soul and mind that this is true, and I have seen the truth of it demonstrated by hundreds of cases of people who failed to get well on treatments of any sort, and who afterward did get well on sunshine, fresh air, and full breathing, along with mental treatment. The gospel of fresh air is more needed by human beings than even the gospel of new thought. If we understood and applied the gospel of fresh air, we would think right without trying. Come into the sunshine and breathe the breath of life which generates in you the new thought of life, love, wisdom, truth, health, happiness, success. New thought will not save you unless you live it, and a little observation and experimenting will prove to you that you can't live it without breathing plenty of fresh air. If all is spirit, why does this healer tell you to regulate your breathing, exercise, food, etc., is to depend upon something outside of spirit? The fact of the matter is this: he fails to realize that all is spirit. It is spirit which makes us breathe. When we shut ourselves away from pure breath of life, we shut away the power that makes us breath. And when we are too interested in doing indoor work, the spirit finds it pretty hard work to make us breathe enough to keep us in good conditions for growing. Being too busy to spend hours every day outdoors, we do stunts in our night dresses to make us in-breathe more of the spirit of life. As always, night and day, winter and summer, we take pains to leave our windows well open that the spirit of life be not shut away from us for one single moment. We used to remember the spirit only on the Sabbath day. Now we remember it every day and all night. We remember to breathe it and eat it as well as think it, and verily we are blessed. This next section talks about various books that are being published. We start with How to Discern the Voice of the Spirit. It is pure white and gold little booklet by Emma Gray, 2015 Kelleroma Avenue in Washington, D.C. No price given, but probably 10 cents. Antoinette by Alonzo Brown is a poem of 40 pages daintily bound in white and gold from the Westbrook Publishing Company, 6 North 13th Street, Philadelphia. No price given, probably 25 cents. Success Through Vibration by Mrs. L. Downe Balliet, 1001 Atlantic Avenue, Atlantic City, New Jersey, is an unusually interesting and suggestive new book dealing with numbers and their relation to the character and possible attainments of the individual. A book for entertainment as well as study, contains 57 pages well bound in cloth. Price is $1. Parsifal, An Ethical and Spiritual Interpretation by Reverend R. Heber Newton, is a scholarly review of the true import of Wagner's great opera. There are 66 large pages well printed on antique paper and daintily bound in fawn, cloth, and gold. All New Thought musicians will appreciate this book, published by Upland Farms Alliance, Oscawana, New York, and sold for 75 cents. Kindly Light by John Milton Scott, co-editor of Mind, is a dear little 4-inch by 6 3/4 volume of 243 pages bound in violet silk, cloth, and gold, published by Upland Farms Alliance, Oscawana-on-Hudson, New York, and sold for $1. The author calls it a little book of yearning, suitable for use in daily meditation upon the universal verities of life, a companion which will repay cultivation. Good Times with the Juniors is a pretty cloth-bound volume of 175 pages by Lillian M. Heath, designed for the use of junior Christian Endeavor and other societies, full of ideas for children's entertainments, pretty drills and plays. The last thing in the book, The Bell of Bonning Dingle, is a complete new little thought play in 2 acts, which would prove a great success anywhere, Price of the book not given, probably $1. To be had at bookstores or in the United Society of Christian Endeavor, Boston or New York. How to Heal Yourself is a really remarkable little 30-page paper-bound booklet by James R. Kern, a man who has been a shut-in and delivered himself by the methods laid down in this book. His idea of the relation of mind and soul and how to encourage the soul to do the healing is very interesting and so well presented that it takes hold of the reader's imagination and puts him on the track of doing with it yet greater things than James Kern himself has done. The booklet is published by William E. Towne, Holyoke, Mass., and sells for 25 cents. The higher thought people, with their students of the delivered life, are to hold their second annual banquet on Thursday evening, February 23, 1905, at the Palmer House in Chicago, where a feast of new thought reason and flow of soul will find fit accompaniment. All the New Thought folks are invited and may secure tickets in advance of Mr. and Mrs. C. at 459 LaSalle Avenue, Chicago. William and I feel with Henry Harrison Brown that we would travel 100 miles for the pleasure of banqueting so royally, or even 500 miles might not hinder. But see where we are, but our goodwill attends in spite of the miles. The New Philosophy by Arthur Crane is a handsome purple and white gold volume of 47 well-printed pages bound in silk cloth, which the author offers to send free to all who ask for it. He says in the preface that the only way he can practice toward you that unselfish love which takes its pleasure in giving more than in getting is to send you his book without price, and he intimates that he can afford to indulge in this sort of philanthropy. The book is well and interestingly written, an original and striking presentation of Mr. Crane's view of man and his powers, which will repay careful reading. So far as I can discover, the author, whose address is room 447, 129 3rd Street, San Francisco, has no axe to grind. His book is good, and I hope you will all send for it. I trust everyone will be thoughtful enough to enclose at least a few stamps for postage, with your thanks to Mr. Crane. Here are new magazines galore from all quarters of the globe, all hatching out with the new year of 1905. May they all grow fat and prosperous, and not one chick be missing when the trump sounds for 1906. The New Thought Sun is very attractive in sage green cover with a rising sun double triangle and this motto: I am a shining sun center. I radiate life, light, wisdom, purity, and power. Edited by W. Simon Charles and Lizzie Ducker Lynn. 1212 College Avenue, Spokane, Washington. A small 14-page magazine, 50 cents a year. The Magic Wand is a tiny 24-page magazine of fellowship and love, published by Brewer and Kruger, 425 South Grand Avenue, Los Angeles, California, and edited by C. L. Brewer. Cover in olive, green, and black with design by Dickie Rohrcrofter. Price of the MW is $1 per year, 10 cents a copy. The Occident, Light, Law, Love, Life is a bright, clean 4-page paper published and edited by L. Francis Estes, Brockton, Massachusetts, with considerable space devoted to the philosophy of breathing. Price 50 cents a year. The Herald of the Cross, Lamley and Company, South Kensington, London, is an attractive magazine of 32 large pages devoted to spirituality and humanitarianism as presented by the Order of the Cross. All these magazines hatched with the new year and I fancy a stamp or two would fetch you sample copies. It has been raining music around the Nautilus office. Here are 9 pieces sent for notice, and all of them unusually good of their kind. The first one is John Burroughs' My Own Shall Come to Me, set to good and appropriate music, by Adeline Stevens, arranged for quartet, just right for chorus or congregational singing. Address, Mrs. Adeline Stevens, 151 West 105th Street, New York, enclosing 10 cents for a copy. Then there are 2 songs from Hart's Music Company at 2392 West Ohio Street in Chicago, both of the popular variety. Dream On and Think of Me is a pretty duet for mezzo voices, words and music both by Maud Anita Hart, price 50 cents. 3 Little Chestnuts is a cute little encore by N. Clifford Page, price 40 cents, to be had of the Temple Music Company, Leonia, New Jersey. And here are 3 good songs by Alan Parkinson, many of whose fine poems have appeared in Christian. No question is ever settled until it is settled right. The verses of this song are by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. The music and the words of the chorus by Alan Parkinson, arranged by Gertrude M. Caldwell. And now we come to the part of the Nautilus where there are a lot of ads. Several of the ads are for Elizabeth Towne's books, and if you're still awake and any of them sound interesting to you, you likely can find them on Google Books. So one of the books says, How to Train Children and Parents. Unlike anything else written on the subject, thoroughly practical, based on personal experience. Exceedingly helpful whether you have children or only yourself to train. Then there's another book called Joy Philosophy, again by Elizabeth Towne. Some say this is my best book. I am well pleased with portions of it, in the writing of which I entered the 7th heavens. And like all of my writings, it is practical. In it, you will find many ideas and exercises for self-conquest not found elsewhere. They are my own soul experiences, and they will help you. Joy Philosophy contains 75 large pages, well printed on antique laid paper, and bound in purple silk cloth stamped in gold. Price $1. Another one of her books is Happiness and Marriage, one of the most original and striking books the author has yet to produce. It is designed to teach men and women how to be happy in marriage and to render them self-reliant. The advice given is not the usual cut-and-dried advice that you read in books upon marriage. It deals with the everyday problems of married life and tells how to grease the wheels of the domestic machine so that it will run smoothly. And this is a partial synopsis that you might find interesting. To be happy though married, a tale of woe, why women are burden bearers. What men admire in a wife, judgment versus feelings, to be loved. The Pharisee up to date. By changing the quality of your magnetism, you change your environment. So near and yet so far. How to get free from burdens, Mary and Martha, and why Jesus preferred Mary. How to change your life so as to become more happy and useful. Marriage contracts, how to avoid strained relations. It takes 2 to destroy harmony, and either one can restore it. Some hints and a kick. Women set the pace at the house, and it goes on. Happiness in Marriage is well printed on heavy laid paper and contains a portrait of the author. Paper covers, 80 pages, price 50 cents. Another one of her books is The Constitution of Man. Gives a clear and practical presentation of mental science and embodies many new and original ideas and the fullest teaching as to the nature, control, and direction of desire. Some of the subjects: the unity of life, in the stillness, what the silence is, how to get there and what to do with it, growth, the create and uncreate explained and defined, the nature of God and the uses of the uncreate, what man is and where and how he got there. This book contains 15 chapters full of power and inspiration, is beautifully printed on antique paper, daintily bound in green and gold, and contains a speaking likeness of the author. Price 50 cents. This next one is interesting. It's 14 lessons in yogi philosophy and Oriental occultism. The thing to remember about 1905 was the concept of yoga or yogis was really new. It was not, now it's something that is considered mainstream, but back then it was very unique. And also the terms Oriental occultism, we don't use the word Oriental to describe practices anymore. There would be more of a deference to where the information came from. And we also, occultism has a different meaning these days. This would, perhaps a better way of saying this would be Eastern mysticism. And it's by Yogi Rama Sharaka, which is interesting because also he was not from the East. He was a New Thought teacher who took on this pen name of Yogi Rama Sharaka to teach these Eastern philosophies. So the ad says Yogi Rama Sharaka is the pen name of one of the best-known New Thought writers in America, a gentleman who has made a deep and searching study of Oriental occultism. Under his real name, this author's writings are known in nearly every part of the civilized world. These lessons give the very best, the most thorough, complete, and practical instructions I have ever seen upon Hindu occultism, thought power, personal magnetism, psychic healing, spiritual attainment, the human aura, the yogi's path of attainment, etc. They give just the information you are seeking, the instruction that proves satisfactory. It gives me pleasure to recommend this course to my customers in the very highest terms. These lessons are now published, complete in one cloth-bound book of 277 pages. Here's a partial synopsis of the lessons. Lesson 1, On the Threshold, the Constitution of Man, the 7 principles of man, the physical body, the astral body, prana, or vital force. Lesson 2, the 4th and 5th principles, the instinctive mind, the intellect. Lesson 3, the 6th and 7th principles, the spiritual mind, spirit, illumination, or spiritual consciousness. Lesson 4, the human aura, health, aura, pranic aura, aura of the 3 mental principles, spirit aura, auric colors, phenomena, etc. Lesson 5, the nature, quality, and power of thought, thought forms, thought influences, the occult teachings on this great subject. Lesson 6, clairvoyance, clairaudience, psychometry, telepathy, etc., how to develop psychic powers. Lesson 7, human magnetism, pranic energy, uses and properties, directions for development and use. Lesson 8, occult therapeutics, spiritual healing, mental healing, pranic healing, theory and practice. Lesson 9, psychic influence, personal magnetism, mesmerism, etc. explained, with instructions regarding self-protection and warnings against misuse of the power. Lesson 10, the astral world, its phenomena, the astral body, astral helpers, etc. Lesson 11, beyond the border, the survival of the ego after passing out of the physical body, where it goes, and what it does after the change called death. Lesson 12, spiritual evolution, the growth of the soul, its travels, its purpose, its goal. Lesson 13, spiritual cause and effect, the yogi teachings regarding the puzzling questions of human life, conduct, the sowing and the reaping explained. Lesson 14, the yogi's path of attainment, the threefold path, methods, directions, plans, exercises, etc., advice and words of encouragement to the neophyte. Price of the book, 277 pages, cloth bound, containing all of the above 14 lessons, only $1. This is a bargain. And I just find all of this so interesting. We think of ourselves as on that leading edge of consciousness as we take on these spiritual beliefs and practices that we learn on our journey. And here they all were being introduced to the Western world back around this time. So I hope that this brings you some just lovely insight to the evolution of consciousness in the modern time. And I'm just so grateful to have this time with you. And I really hope by now you are asleep. And if you're not asleep, that you are feeling relaxed and feeling the waves of angel love that are surrounding you right now. So you have a good rest. I am so deeply grateful for you. I love you. I hope you can feel the love that I am broadcasting to you through this podcast. And I wish you sweet dreams. Thank you, beloveds.